We thought Dutch Bros was there.
Did get a Charleston Fire Department car in line at the 7 Brew to get coffee.
Oh, really?
I was like, "Ooh." I assume so. Oh, okay. Yeah, when I did their final inspection, they had big coffee machines in the one of the machines cost like $30,000.
Cheese.
It's like a fancy, nice Italian espresso machine, but like 10 feet long. Yeah,
Well, apparently the fire department likes them, so.
hey, that's what
Hey, how are you? Good. So.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, ask for
It's fine, yeah, we'll figure out.
it.
I'll most likely see this on the next meeting, but we're using some transcribing software. Yeah, how we differentiate, say what. Got a 12, 11 or 12 item designer board meeting. Trying to keep up with what everyone's saying. Basically have to watch you do that. So having to sit through 3.5-hour meeting and then watch it back. Not working.
All right.
Ready?
Going on.
Oh, yes, we're live.
Okay.
I'll second.
This is, the new business, 2 minutes, 137, 1207, 020, 501.
All right, so I'm just going to go over the staff report and then Mr. Lynch, you can come up and just answer any questions that the board might have about your request. So this is a special exception request to allow for short-term rental use at 501 East Richardson Avenue. This would be a special exception request per UDO section 3.3, which is our use chart, which just notes that short-term renting is permitted in GR5 zone properties with the special exception granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have the criteria listed here. And just to give you a little bit of background, the need for special exception was determined by staff through review of the property allowances with the current property owner, Mr. Lynch. The applicant is requesting to allow short-term rental use on their property. The property in question is located on a corner and is approximately 0.22 acres. The property is larger than the majority of the surrounding residential properties in the general vicinity. The property is buffered by two large wooded parcels and the sawmill branch to the northwest and southwest. Short-term renting is permitted by special exception for the surrounding residential properties, which are also zoned GR5. The applicant owns the property and will be subject to the conditions of the lodging conditional use permit required by the town. Based on the required criteria, it appears that short-term renting would not have a negative impact on the surrounding properties or the general public. Here's the parcel.
The owner doesn't have to live there, does he? Nobody has to live there.
So it just has to be taxed at the 4% rate by Dorchester County. And typically, I believe they require a driver's license with that address and proof of residency for 183 days or more.
Any question?
Just a few views of the house.
So it requires that the person actually lives there, at least a part of the year.
Yes, that it's taxed at the 4% rate as their primary residence.
Yeah.
He has to be there, 51%,
Yes.
right?
And so how is that gonna work?
So I have a kid.
If you want to just speak into the microphone, thank you.
I have kids back on the West Coast, so I travel from basically half my time here and half my time on the West Coast with them. So split custody.
Big chunks of time, I presume.
What's that?
Substantial chunks of time.
Yeah. About 6 months on, 6 months off.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Care to make a motion?
I'll move we approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions?
Questions?
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
And I'll email you tomorrow with the next steps and we'll schedule the inspection for the lodging conditional use permit.
Okay. And then we want to go downstairs for the business license, or can I do that online?
You can do both online because I don't think you applied for the lodging. I think we were going to wait until you got approval. Yeah, so you can apply for both online. If you have issues finding them, just reach out to me and I can help you. But yeah, so
Thanks.
all right, take
Thank you,
care.
guys.
As I mentioned before, we're gonna have a new board member, Tabitha, and I cannot remember her last name. You know her, okay. So I talked to her today. She will most likely be at our next meeting, if we have one. So yeah, we'll decide then. But other than that, unless y'all have any questions for me, we can motion to adjourn.
Seeing a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it's a good thing. We, within the past, I guess Lee has been here for maybe a month and a half now. We were approved to hire, a zoning code enforcement officer. so dedicated just to our department. We have a program called Rentalscape, which is a data scraper that gives us all the information on illegal listings or non-permitted listings in the town. We investigate those, and then Lee actually does it. Before it was just me or Tim doing that, and we didn't have the capacity with our workload to really enforce that. So, and a lot of the citations by state law have to be issued in person as well. So the person has to be home. So that was another issue. We can't just mail those sort of citations out when they're illegally doing something that violates the ordinance. So Lee has been enforcing that, and we had a list of like 200 that were out of compliance, and he's gotten them down to maybe just, you know, in the single digits. So we're having a lot of people who were doing it that are living on GR5 zoned properties that are having to come into compliance.
Well, certainly it's good. Question.
I wouldn't say it's a permitted use as long as they meet the conditions. Now GR5 properties are generally going to be smaller because, you know, we have GR2, GR3, GR5. GR5's lot size minimums are 8,500 versus 20,000 square feet for a GR2. So your properties are going to be closer. You know, that lends itself to affecting neighboring properties. So that is the intent of the ordinance, that they show that the special exception request shows that they will not have a negative impact on the surrounding properties. And generally for like this property, it's on a corner lot, it's next to the sawmill. You know, I received no feedback after putting the signs out, you know, the legally required notice. And in general, I find that most people don't have concerns about their neighbors renting as long as they maintain, you know, neighborly practices. And they are given the option, you know, if they don't want to go through the special exception process, they can do long-term renting, which is 30 days or more. And they do not have to get additional permitting for that. So some people, once they get the notice that they have to go through that process, they have to pay the $100 fee to go through the process, they opt to do the longer term renting. And there are properties that are in, you know, more commercially mixed use zone areas where it's just permitted by right. So they don't have to go through this process, but does that answer your question? All right, anything else? All right, we can get a motion to adjourn.
Open.
All right,